Marin, thank you so much for spending a few minutes with me today. Congratulations on the series.
Thank you.
Um, Really, Elizabeth's character is every parent's worst nightmare. And that's what I kept going back to, especially being that I have a 14-year-old
Mm,
who's really starting to get a lot more liberties and being able to go out and practices and thinking about jobs.
yeah.
Tell me, where did you approach the character for Elizabeth? It's a tough role.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's not a lot we know about the piece. There's not a ton of research I could do on them, which just meant that for me, luckily, I got to focus on just with the script that was in front of me and try to not put too much pressure on myself to sort of deliver something, but just to sort of allow the experience to happen to me. And I don't know. There's something maybe just kismety about the whole thing, but also I think it is such an immediate fear and an immediate sensation that from the beginning it felt like something I could really just connect to right away. And I felt like I was just telling a story of something that has happened to a lot of people, unfortunately, in the world, is losing a child. And that was the story I was telling. I wasn't trying so much to just tell specifically the pieced story, but rather the story of someone who lost a child and in such a shocking way. And especially something we talked about a lot was that in this time, right, people couldn't, now we can track our kids on, on their phones. We know where people are. We can see on their location and all of this stuff. But it really was like if somebody left the house, you don't know. And that time just also was something that was that adds an element of fear and uncertainty to the whole atmosphere. But yeah, that was my entry point was pretty immediate.
One of the things that really struck me about this series that I really appreciated was the fact that, these are really well-known names as far as, terrible people that have done terrible things. And what I appreciated about this series in particular is that it really, really focused on all the people it affected rather than specifically just spotlighting this killer. And I thought that was done so well because there are other series sometimes that focus a lot on the gratuitous, sometimes gore or actions that honestly they happen, but not often enough or do we focus on the people that are affected, whether it's the authorities, whether it's the families. Tell me how you felt about the way that
Yeah.
we get to see this live
Yeah.
out.
We talked about that a lot, and I've known Michael Turnis for a really long time. And when I was signing on, he and I had a long conversation, and he was talking about that. That's sort of the reason why he wanted to be a part of this. Honestly, he wasn't really interested in telling a story about who Gacy was because honestly, that doesn't really go very far. That you can't really get to the bottom of something like that, and that doesn't really yield anything that you want to take away with you. What really was felt like a reason to do this, a purpose for this at all, was to remind people of that this wasn't just a there were a lot of lives affected by this, not just the individuals that were killed, but their families, the law enforcement. I mean, like you said, their lives were changed forever by this story too. And to really kind of show the other side of that, especially in a time where a lot of people are watching or listening to true crime, to remind them of the real lives involved in this. I feel like that gave us all a real sense of purpose.
And it's a tough to think I think to ask an actor and actress to come into work and really display these emotions of grief and pain day in and day out. How do you as an actress prepare for the roles and then after decompress after, a tough day?
Uh, Lots of hydration, warm baths. It was kind of incredible though because it was a real story. I think it was a lot more. It took a lot less kind of active work to try to think about how to connect to the thing. I spent a lot of time keeping these this family and their story at the front of my mind. And they were a really loving family. And the fact that this happened and the way that it affected them is uh, really feels like a very immediate heartbreak to me to think about. So that I felt like just thinking about them and keeping them in my mind and the fact that they um, went through this and are real people, that was that didn't take a lot of work. What takes work is to come down at the end of it and uh, drink a lot of water and sit in an Epsom salt bath for a while.
Lots of
There's no
hydration.
shortcut. There's no recovery shortcut, unfortunately.
Real quick, before I gotta let you go, give me a couple comments on Michael Turnis's portrayal of John Wayne Gacy because he's unrecognizable.
Yeah. I mean, I've known him for quite a long time and I've never seen him quite like this. I mean, luckily for me, I had no scenes with him directly, really. But I will say that when I saw him at the hair and makeup test, I was like, I don't know how I'm going to be able to talk to you, one of my dearest friends in the world, and I can't handle it. Because normally he's got long hair and a beard, and he's like a Grateful Dead fan, and he's like the loveliest man in the world. And just seeing him with that like hair and the jacket and the thing, it was sort of harrowing to me. But he's not the kind of guy to. He wanted to do this to honor the victims, not to sort of showcase his own portrayal. So he really he was happy. We actually used to talk about it. He was like, I don't know how I'm going to get through this. And we talked about the fact that it's kind of the opposite what you normally do as an actor, where he was like, I'm actually going to be thinking of it as like each day that goes by, I get to like shed one more day of being him, as opposed to like I'm accumulating my incredible performance. It's like I don't have to do that anymore. I don't have to do that again. I don't have to do that again. And sort of letting him go in a way, which was really nice.
Marin, thank you so much for a few minutes of your time. Thank you for being part of such a great series that, we're talking about, spotlights really
Thanks.
the victims and the people affected, not
Oh,
only when it happened, but also throughout, time and
thank
the rest of
you.
their lives. So it was nice to meet you also virtually.
Nice to meet you.